Hello everyone, welcome to the When It Worked podcast. You're with your host Julian Leahy, joined in the soundproof booth as always Chief Henry Harrigan. And today's guest is Jannette Anderson from Purpose and Profit Sisterhood. And we're going to talk about all the fantastic stuff that Jannette is doing, RE, content marketing, and a lot of other great stuff. After we play a game of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Welcome to the show, Jannette.
I am happy to be here, and I want to be a millionaire.
Okay, well, it's going to be, there's a chance of winning a million in fake currency.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a good idea. We should, if somebody wants to give me $1 million for the game show, that'll be great. I can give that away. All right, let's get straight into it, and we're going to, now, I will say this, Jannette, you've got lifelines. Yes. If you're not sure, use your lifeline. So there is polling the audience, there is 50-50 split, and there is one where you can holler at anybody in your house to get an answer. If there's nobody in your house, that's not going to be much help.
It's really no help.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'll give you a clue. All right. Let's get the first question up. On his talk show, host Maury Povich famously says to some of his guests, "You are not the what?"
This is one of the easier
Suspect,
questions too.
The cousin, father, the killer.
Oh, the father, C, for sure.
All right, let's lock in C. Correct. Jannette.
Oh, phew.
It's off to a good start.
All right.
Let's continue on. A 2010 Time magazine article debunks the myth that what group of people are spoiled, selfish, solitary misfits?
Oh, you mean besides entrepreneurs?
Yes.
Let's see.
Any Kardashian,
well, for
only
sure.
children, online gamers, people
definitely.
who put pineapple on pizza.
Okay, now, I'm Canadian, and we created the Hawaiian pizza, which is really an oxymoron. So I think you shouldn't be dissing people who put pineapple on pizza, but I'm going to say B, only children.
Only children. All right, let's lock that in. Correct.
Oh, phew.
Right.
Because I would hate to bum out at 250. That would suck.
Yes, well, it's nearly happened before, and I had to intervene and give clues because it was going to end too soon. All right, the next question. A 2010 study found that nearly 70% of what imported item failed to live up to its claim of being extra virgin.
North American women?
Well,
no.
Oh, what did I do?
It went away. But I'm pretty sure I know this
Tinder
one.
dates, olive oil, Shiraz wine, or Spanish grapes.
It's for sure B, although I'm pretty sure that it is definitely also A, but B.
Okay, let's lock it in. Correct. Okay, moving straight on. A 20th century fashion icon, Gabrielle Chanel, was better known by what nickname? Coco, Guccio, Gianni, or Mario?
I know for sure it's A. I was just watching Project Runway, so...
Oh, lock it in. Correct. Doing great. No lifelines used so far.
All right. So far, so good.
All right. Now we've got to change the level. What happened to the music?
You have so many things going on to manage over there.
Yeah.
It's just stressful for you.
It is. All right. Question editor. Level 2. Okay. Let's see if we can get to the next. No questions available. Why is that saying that? Oh my God. Panic. Okay.
You can just make shit up. I'd play. I didn't actually know that Coco was Gabrielle, so there you go. I learned something new tonight.
You did. Okay, so I don't know why. Go to the next level. It's a little bit of a glitch here. Okay, I'll put you at the next level. Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
See if that works. Okay. Now see if we can get a question up. Okay, we're back in business.
Yes.
Woo! A breakthrough in
Okay.
fashion. Jeggings are leggings designed to look like what? Jeans,
Yep.
track pants, suit
Nope.
trousers, martial arts gi pants.
Nope. A for sure.
You're on fire. Well
I almost lost on the first two, so I'm glad that these are a little easier.
done. I almost lost the plot completely. All right. Next one. A Boston native, what late night host's sister made her film debut as one of the Eklund sisters in The Fighter? A Boston native, he's a late night talk show host, and his sister made her film debut as one of the Eklund sisters in The Fighter.
Okay, well,
Jimmy Fallon.
I haven't got a clue.
Seth Meyer, Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno.
No idea. Those are all late night hosts. I got that. No idea whose sister
Does
is
Boston
in any
native
movies.
give you a clue?
Not
really?
Okay, it narrows it down to Jimmy Fallon or Seth Meyer, I believe. However, let's go with a 50.
Let's go with a 50-50.
Oh, okay. So Seth Meyer or Conan O'Brien. Now, I assume Conan O'Brien. Well, you know what? There's a lot of Irish in Boston. Oh shit, that does not help.
I think that you could be barking up the right tree there, Jannette.
Okay, well, let's go with C.
Okay.
Conan O'Brien. I can take your clue. Right. Yay!
Okay, it could have been a trick question though, couldn't it?
Could have.
Okay. A classic 1969 work by poet Maya Angelou is titled I Know Why the Caged Bird What? Sings, eats, flaps, dances.
Okay, it is A, but C would be funnier.
C would be funnier.
So
Let's
A.
lock in C. No, we're going to lock in A.
No, A.
Correct. You're doing great. You've got 2 lifelines, but really 1 lifeline left. Okay. A blacksmith works primarily with what metal? Gold, copper, bronze, or iron?
D, iron.
Locking it in with no lifelines. Correct. Yeah, you're getting up there.
Okay.
Getting up there.
I am. I like this.
Okay, so we're going to put you up a level.
You sure we can't get a sponsor to fund this so
Yes.
that it's like
I
real
know
money?
it would be good.
That would
It would be good.
It would be.
I'm
would.
thinking about ways I could do it, but it wouldn't be. It'd
I
be
think-
more like Who Wants to Be a Hundredaire.
Yeah.
All right. What is the largest species of shark in the world? Great white shark, hammerhead shark, whale shark, tiger shark.
It's C. I haven't swam with great white sharks, but I have not yet swam with whale sharks or swam.
And
whatever
how
the
was
word.
swimming with great white sharks? It's on my bucket list.
It was really interesting and fun. I swam with sharks off the coast of Belize and great whites off the coast of South Africa.
In a cage, though.
I was in a cage, so really, it's not all that like risky or anything.
Did it still feel
but
scary?
It was still kind of fun. It did, but you know
What you
what?
got, son?
When I was in Belize, I laid on the bottom of the ocean and I was head to head, nose to nose with 5 nurse sharks. And even though they were nurse sharks, and so they don't actually eat people or anything, that was more unnerving than the great whites, because like literally I was 12 inches away from them, and there was 5 of them. So that was kind of really cool. Scary.
I'm terrified
but cool.
of sharks. There's a river near my house that we go swimming in, and then I took all the kids there and we were jumping off the jetty, and then the next
Yeah.
week a man got killed by a tiger shark, and I didn't even know they were in the river.
Wow, you didn't know they were in there.
Crazy. All right, let's lock it in. Whale shark is correct.
Yes.
All right, you're getting up there. In the
Awesome.
game of chess, which piece can only move diagonally? Rook, bishop, knight, or queen?
Diagonally, bishop.
Locking it in. No hesitation. That is correct.
That part I know.
You're doing very well. You're going to actually win this competition, maybe. I might need to make the questions harder, especially if I'm going to have prizes in the future. The last questions are pretty hard. So, a classic 1976 song by the Blue Oyster Cult features the advice, "Don't fear the what?" Mailman, Reaper, teacher, ex-wife.
Well, they're actually all worthy of fearing, but I'm really old, so I actually remember the song. It's B, Reaper.
Lock it in, Reaper.
Yes, I was a 16-year-old when that came out. That's supposed to tell you how old I am.
And it's also the topic of probably the best Saturday Night Live skit ever. Have you seen that?
No.
You got to watch that on YouTube. Don't fear the Reaper,
Okay.
Saturday Night Live. Actually,
All right,
it's not
I'll
on
go
YouTube.
look it up right after
Gotta
this.
Google it.
Google it, okay.
All right, next one. A common ailment. Dyspepsia gets its name from Greek roots meaning bad what?
Uh-oh.
Attitude, luck, breath, digestion.
Ooh. Gonna have to use a lifeline for this because my Greek is not all that good. I'm guessing it's either breath or digestion. So let's go with, what do I have as a lifeline?
Poll the audience.
Okay, let's poll the audience.
Okay, let's take a look.
Because maybe we have a lot of Greeks in the audience.
All right, let's have a look and see what they come up with.
They're probably going to say C or D.
Oh, no.
It's a secret.
Okay,
Oh.
let's move Jannette.
Oh, there we go.
No,
okay,
that's no help. Well,
That's not a lot of help. Okay, so it probably is D, digestion. We'll go with that because that's what the most say.
okay, looks like that was a hard question. All right, where am I? Back here.
So audience, don't let me down.
Okay,
D,
let's
digestion.
lock it in. D, digestion. That is correct. Got
Okay.
bailed out there, and you are at the second highest question. Let's see if Jannette
over
can
that. Ugh.
close it out.
Okay, have you ever had anyone go all the way to a
No.
million? No.
Never.
Okay.
The pressure is on. This is history in the making. Okay, is this the last
dear.
question or? Okay. Which
No,
famous
no,
artist is known for his works such as The Persistence of Memory and The Elephants? Is it Pablo Picasso, Vincent van Gogh, Salvador Dali, Leonardo da Vinci?
Oh no. Okay. I don't think it's Da Vinci. I don't think it's Van Gogh because I did not see any elephants in the Van Gogh thing that
Like
I
the
went
logic.
to. So it's either Picasso or Dali, both of whom did weird things. Dripping Clocks was Dali, which I think maybe was The Persistence of Memory, or it was some weird thing that might be like that. I'm gonna go with Dali.
Let's lock it in.
Even though it
This is
may or
this
may
is a
not
hard
be.
question with no lifelines. There's virtually no chance of her getting this correct. And she's got it! Well done, Jannette. Actually, that's the last question.
Oh,
You did it.
I did it.
Awesome. All right, well
Good.
done.
I love it.
Let's stop that.
Thank you.
All right, great job, Jannette. Went all the way on the first time, and you even had one lifeline left. All right, let's talk about purpose and profit sisterhood. What are you doing? How did you get into doing what you're doing, and why are you doing it?
Okay, well, a lot of things there. So my company or brand, whatever, is bodacity.ca, and it's all about helping people create a bold life and a bold business, and particularly women. I've been supporting entrepreneurs and growing themselves and their businesses for about 40 years. But about 10 years ago, during a meditation, I got this immense download, and I wrote out 11 pages in my journal that was all about this thing that was this mindset and this community and this global movement called Bodacity. And it was all about supporting, the mission statement was shifting the world from fear to love, one happy woman at a time. And I literally read the 11 pages after I wrote them all out, closed the book and said, you got the wrong person, God, universe, Fred, whatever. And I don't know why you're talking to me about this. This is not mine to do. And so then I spent about 8 years in resistance. I kept getting the call, and it's like, but I don't even really like women. Leave me alone, because I had mostly worked in male-dominated spheres and stuff. And then I get the call, and it's like, but it's so been done. There's so many women's groups. Back when there was like 4, now there's 4 million. I get the call again, and it's like, but I'm not really the right leader. You need someone else. You need someone who's some famous feminist or something. Anyway, finally, after about 8 years of persistence, I finally graciously surrendered and said, fine, fuck off, leave me alone, I'll do it, and stepped in and really then understood why women, why now, and why me, and why there's such a proliferation of support for women stepping into their purpose, into their power, and really stepping up in business especially. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing in terms of that particular part of the calling.
I love it when you get those kind of clarity moments where you just get the idea in complete almost, and you know exactly what you need to do. Often it's when I'm 3 o'clock in the morning or something, and then I get up and have to write all this stuff down. And how much did it change from, because that was 6 years from initial idea to execution.
Yeah.
How much did it change?
Well, it actually hasn't changed much in terms of the intention. The strategy and the implementation is changing a little bit and evolving as I go along. What's interesting is, after 8 years of resistance and being stubborn, and I mean, I had been kind of dipping my toe in, and my why in the world, one of my titles is the Why Whisperer. I love helping people figure out why they do what they do, because I think our why can be really used to differentiate us, to guide our strategy, to lead us forward, to keep us in the game. It can be used in a lot of different ways. And my why is that I always wanted to my stand in the world is that I want you to get that you matter and live like you do. And the reason that that's been important to me in everything I've done is because, of course, I always wanted to get that I mattered. I wanted to get on the list, never mind the top of the list. I just wanted to get on the damn list. And so it's part of what I see in the world and what I've wanted to support. And so whether I've been facilitating personal development workshops or teaching coaching certification programs or helping entrepreneurs, underneath it all is really that desire to support people and getting that they matter and helping them turn that into a tangible way of expressing it. So living into it, and ideally through a business, because I think business is a wonderful self-development tool. It's a wonderful way to express our purpose. It's a wonderful way to contribute. I think entrepreneurship is the bomb. And so for 40 years, I've been supporting entrepreneurs in using that as their way to express themselves in the world. So that's part of why I've been so passionate about this for so long.
Awesome, and it's because that it solved the problem that you had or that you felt, and which is why it's all the best ideas are like that, I find. And
exactly,
and you're thinking to yourself, there's just something I need to work out, and I'm sure other people need to work it out. And you've niched down as well, which is great. So you know exactly who your audience is. How long did it take you to understand it's good to actually cut some people out and just focus exactly on who you should focus on?
Well, those of us who teach keep saying to people all the time, niche down, niche down, niche down, but then sometimes it's hard for us to do. And so it's always, so it went from entrepreneurs to female entrepreneurs. I predominantly worked with service professionals, people who sell what they know. But lately, and as we change and evolve, then so does our demographic. And so lately, my focus now is maturepreneurs, women who are 55 plus and who are just hashtag not done by a long shot. Either they can't retire or they don't want to retire, and they have a lot to give. And there is a number of obstacles for them to overcome, like ageism, sexism, etc. So that's now my primary focus in my demographic. I still work with women of all different ages and from all around the world, but my focus now is shining the light on what I call wisdom workers or the maturepreneur, because there are millions of them coming into the marketplace. It's actually becoming this huge global movement because they just, again, can't afford to retire or don't want to. And there really isn't any place for them in the work world. So where do they go but entrepreneurship?
And people often, I think, of that age group are likely to look at it and think, who's going to listen to me? I'm older than, and there's all these other people, these young flash people promoting themselves. And is that a big one where the self-doubt that people have? What do I really know? What can I show people? And how do you get that across to people that remove that self-doubt? It's good to have self-doubt because usually, I always think we've got too many people who don't have self-doubt and they're just kind of overconfident, and it's mostly actually guys that are
smoke and
like
mirrors.
That, really. Yeah. Men will just, they're quite happy to bluff their way. But I think it's good to actually have a bit of doubt and reflect on what you're doing and then go, okay, I think I can find my way through. And in the end, what you get out of that is usually more authentic, I think. How do you help people and get over that? And is that something, that self-doubt, that is a main part of the problem?
Yeah, well, yes and no. Yes, I think that's a component of it. I think a lot of what they are challenged by is, how do I compete with younger people in a digital age where you gotta, like they want to do TikTok, like they want to poke their eyes out with a fork. I'm with them on that. I'm working on mastering the platform, but my God. I think that's one of the challenges. One of the things that we need to work out is, how do we capture all that wisdom and actually take advantage of the expertise and not have a brain drain going out of society, but still do it in a way where they're not competing with young people who are doing different things. And it doesn't mean that older people can't innovate and don't bring new ideas and so forth. I've got a 76-year-old friend who rocks digital stuff and is like a whiz with, video editing and so forth. But by and large, the challenge is, how do I stay current in this marketplace? It's not so much that they doubt the expertise and the value they provide. It's, how do I actually stay current in and relevant in a marketplace enough to get people to listen to the value and the expertise I can provide. And then there's also the challenge of competing in tech, but also competing in kind of a commodity-based market. They can hire younger people for less. And while, so really maturepreneurs need to compete based on expertise, wisdom, applicability, things that younger people don't have in order to differentiate themselves. But it's like every entrepreneur, you got to figure out how you can do something they can't, and how do you go where they're not? How do you fill those blank spots? So I think that is one of the challenges, self-doubt, not from the perspective of what's the value I have to bring, but more from how the hell do I stand out in this global marketplace when this is not necessarily what I'm used to, my forte, or how I roll in the world. And I think that there's also, especially for women, a lot of the challenge with the clients I work with is, it's going to sound kind of funny probably for some people, but what do I want? They've spent a lifetime putting everyone else first. And now to step up and say, who do I want to be? What contribution do I want to make? What do I want to get from this? And what's going to light me up for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years? That's a big challenge for a lot of women because they are so used to defining themselves by everyone else's choices and standards. And so having them come back home to themselves to say, here's who I am, here's the value I have, and this is what I'm going to offer. That's actually a bigger part of the journey for many of them.
Yes, getting people to do what they want to do, which is important. And so you've got what, Bodacity? How do I spell that? Bodacity?
Yeah, that's right.
Bodacity.
Yeah, that's for Canada. And Bodacity is the cross between bold and audacious. And it's an actual word. I didn't make it up. And bodacious people or bodacious women are people who are, bold and audacious and who like to. I often say that part of what I do is support women in grabbing life by the ovaries and going for it, because there's just not enough. Yeah, I know. You would be surprised. Women either laugh and giggle or they squirm and cross their legs. One of the two. Yeah. Just like, when you say grab life by the balls for men, they do the same thing. So it's about women really stepping up and out and saying, okay, it's okay to be seen. It's okay to go against some of the status quo. I'm a big believer that the status quo just has got to go.
Got to go.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Oh, first thing I wanted to ask was, did you come up with that domain name while you were meditating?
Bodacity? Yeah. Actually, Bodacity was part of the download.
Wow.
I had to go look up what the word was.
That's awesome.
Because I didn't even know what it was. I was just like, okay. I just wrote out everything I heard and I was inspired, daunted, and appalled by what I read when I wrote it all out at the same time, because it felt so big and it was inspiring as far as a vision, but it was also like, oh my God, this is so not me. How come I got this? So it was, and still to this day at times it's kind of like, oh, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of, this is a lot of being asked to step up and out a lot continuously, but it's also pretty fun. There's a lot to it that I love and enjoy. I have to be the brand, so I call myself polyhomerous.
Yeah.
I live a mobile lifestyle. I sold my house and everything I own about 8 years ago, and now pretty much everything I own fits in my truck or in a 5x10 storage unit, and I travel around. Well, I avoid winter and I travel around all over the place to wherever, kind of it feels most appropriate and strikes my fancy. I'd much rather work on my computer by a pool than I would, in snow.
Oh, yeah. If there's snow, then I just cannot go there.
Yeah, exactly.
So how are you running this Purpose and Profit Sisterhood? What are you doing kind of day to day on a weekly basis with all your sisters?
Well, so that's the name of the Facebook group that I have. It's also the name of my podcast.
By the way, if you just Google that, that'll come up.
Yeah.
The Facebook group will come up. So just Google Purpose and Profit Sisterhood and you'll be able to find it.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. You know what? I got to tell you, here's a tip for everyone. Don't name your Facebook group or your community or your podcast something that people are not looking for. So originally it was called Bodacity's Action Heroes because I'm a big believer in people taking action. And it was Bodacity because it was branded after this vision. No one was searching for Bodacity. No one was searching for Action Heroes. No one knew what the hell it was about or what it did for them. There was no benefit implied. So I renamed it to the Purpose and Profit Sisterhood. So now people know it's for women. It's about business. It's also about meaning and purpose and a deeper
it's a good
conversation.
Because it's just 3 things. It tells you what it is, who it's for in one shot. It's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you're naming something, especially a community or a Facebook group, for the love of God, name it something that people understand and they're looking for. Because I made that mistake, even though I've been in branding and marketing for 40 years. It is about supporting women in stepping up and out in their business. So I have some signature programs that I teach that help them create what I call their revenue runway. I think there's a lot of expertpreneurs that are selling what I call pieces of the profit plane. There are these leveraging strategies that help people create masterminds or create online courses or learn how to be a speaker, or all these things that will help you become, a bazillionaire in a weekend. And the fact is, most of them do not work unless you're at the top of the mountain and you have a team and infrastructure and a list of 40,000 and all of that kind of thing. But if you're an entrepreneur coming up the mountain, it doesn't work for you. And so people are spending, especially in North America, I don't know how rampant it is in Australia yet. I know it's there, but I don't know how much it's an issue. They're spending tens of thousands of dollars on programs and coaching and so forth that don't actually give them ROI, don't give them any kind of return on their investment. And frankly, that just pisses me off. Yeah. I've been on both sides of the industry. I've helped people build their $1 million businesses and taught, sold the $25,000 coaching programs and stuff and delivered them and created them. And it doesn't serve the people who buy it. So what I do is help them create the revenue runway so that when they have a profit plane, it has a place to land and take off of. And then we'll get to, what do you want to build and what's the right vehicle for you and how do you do that? How do you leverage yourself? But in the meantime, let's figure out how you can just consistently and reliably get clients.
That's great. And it sounds like with these courses and stuff, it's those things are selling people what they want, but not what they need, and what they think they want is what they can't do. And then so the revenue runway is kind of like teaching them, actually, this is what you need and this is what you should want, would you say? And then because that's the missing piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely. Now, the problem is it's not as sexy, and people want to buy the instant gratification and the promises and the smoke that gets blown up their skirt. And like you said, there's a lot of people. I don't know if it's predominantly men, but there's a lot of guys that are, posing in front of the Lamborghinis and the big mansions that
Actually, I've seen several women doing this as well.
Yeah. Yes, and women. There's more of them lately. It's true. And they don't own the Lamborghinis, and the house is leased, and they're leveraged to the teeth, and they're robbing Peter to pay Paul. There are some women and men who are legitimately making seven figures and are profitable and are actually,
but how? Selling the sizzle
legitimately. Yeah, and some of them have integrity and actually deliver what they promise. But in my experience, many of if you pull back the curtain, the Wizard of Oz that you see behind the curtain is not often what you see in front of the curtain. So I like to try and to tell people the truth, and frankly, it does me a disservice because people don't want to buy the truth. Understand. They want to buy the sizzle, and they want to buy this fantasy, and they want to buy the silver bullet. But it's like, enough of that nonsense. Get your head out of your butt. Let's actually get you something that will work so that you can be the difference that only you can be in the world. And you can't do that if you're busy, stressed out, trying to do things that are beyond where you're at.
Yes, and you cannot show them what they need. You need to spend that time talking to them so that you can educate them.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing with the Profit and Purpose and Profit Sisterhood. So you're doing lots of lives in your group. How do you do that?
Yep, I have a podcast. I go live every week. I bring on another subject matter expert. We do content. I do trainings, and I have coming up very shortly a quarterly planning session that I do for people for free.
That sounds good.
That is really, really cool approach to thinking about who do you need to be in order to do what you want to do so that you can have what you want to have. It's not just the typical, let's throw a bunch of goals at the wall that you're going to ignore a week from now and forget. It's really much more practical and organic. And so some of it is based on a book called The 12-Week Year, which is really about shifting our focus. We don't think in terms of years anymore. And when we try and do annual planning, frankly, what happens for most people is most of the work that they end up doing is scrunched into the last quarter as they scramble to try and make their numbers or meet their goals or do whatever. So it's really about just quarter to quarter. If you were just treating this like your whole year, how would you be? What would you do? What would be your focus? And how do you not get overwhelmed by trying to push too far out? Just stay more focused on, okay,
Small
this
chunks.
quarter. Yeah, what do I need to do? And so I'm doing a complimentary planning session for women, so that they can really just step up and out. And by the way, it's not that I don't like men. I do work with women, mostly women and a few smart men. It's just that I think when women are more grounded and really living more into their purpose and their profit, they're happier.
Yeah.
They're following
I
the
get
path
it.
of their pleasure. And when they do that, then they're better for the men and better for the children and better for the planet. There's been too many unhappy women for too long, and that's not good for anyone. So
Yeah, no, I think the women-only groups are essential because all of those old things kind of come across where men kind of like perceived as the authority, and then everyone sort of shuts up, and then it just kills everything. So I think women in women groups is great, and all of these things are what work best, and that's who your niche market is. So it's perfect. Yeah.
Well, and believe me, I resisted it for quite a while because I really like men, and I was like, I really don't want to work with women. I don't want to work with women exclusively. But I really have come to appreciate that part of this is women do need to learn how to partner better with each other so that we can learn how to partner better with men, because we haven't been really partnering in ways that are healthy for men as well. And so I think that's a big part of it is when we get better at being with one another, we'll get better at being with men too.
That sounds great. And when's the next planning session kicking off?
It's actually September 16th, so it's coming up soon, next Saturday. And it's 4 hours. It's free. It's an opportunity to work on your business instead of in your business. Now, for those of you in Australia, it's going to be late at night. It's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. So that's not the best time for Australia. However, if you register, I can send you the recording and you can watch it at a more civilized hour.
Most people watching are not Australian, so don't worry too much about that. And that sounds fantastic. So if you want to plug in, Jannette's onto something, I can just tell, and jump onto her Facebook group. So just Google Purpose and Profit Sisterhood. Ideally, sisters only. That's fine. Well, these days.
Well, no, I do have men in the group.
Oh, you do?
And they're men who, I do, who support women, love women, want to sell to women if they're really smart. They're in the group, I like men. So it is mostly women, though. It is very definitely an estrogen-rich environment.
Yes. So, and that's happening next Saturday. This Saturday, yes. Yep, so jump on
the 16th.
The 16th. All right, that's ready to go. So if you want to jump on that, now is a perfect time to get involved and have a look at what Jannette's doing. Thanks for coming on, Jannette. That was fantastic.
Thank you. I love that you're giving people an opportunity to not only share their expertise and their passion, but also to have fun with you, to get access to a global market. And you just do something that's quite different and unique. So I can tell that you're kind of a different, unique kind of guy, which I love.
I'm a bit of a weirdo. And you absolutely crushed the game. So congratulations on that as well, Jannette.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I love playing. I'm just love playing. Anybody, anytime wants to play.
I think you could. Yes. You've got quite a few, a bit of general knowledge there, which is great. Thanks, Jannette. I'm going to wrap it up before I ramble and ruin the ending. See you, everyone.